time to talk about the Cleveland Guardians, who, on a bright note, did win their 10,000th game in franchise history. That happened when they beat the Padres in a stellarly pitched game. It was a combined one-hitter. San Diego got one hit on Saturday as the Guardians won. But Friday and Sunday, they forgot what time the game was, and no one showed up. And that's not far from an exaggeration. They just did absolutely nothing with their lumber on Friday and Sunday. And it's I'm not ready to call the race if this were an election, but many of the precincts are in.
The path to victory is narrowing.
And yeah. I barely see a path for the Guardians to win this election.
Yeah. The only way this is going to work is if they ain't counted the votes in the city yet. They still got to count Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland.
And those are the late reporting precincts.
Hey, listen, they just closed because we be in lines down the street. Now, see, this is why you can't have nothing nice, G. Bush. You talk too much.
It's astonishing to me. Where are you on what we're seeing with the Guardians?
Stunned.
Yeah.
Stunned. Because I was excited after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I liked what they did at the deadline.
They haven't won a series in since June.
They've lost 5 in a row.
They've completely collapsed since the trade deadline. And, we talked about the time. Usually, when you bring in reinforcements like that, it injects life into the clubhouse. And it shows the team that, the organization believes in you. Now go out and do it. And it's been the exact opposite. They just completely unraveled. I don't have a great explanation for it. Just really disappointed.
I told you guys earlier that I did some numbers crunching to see where are they offensively. Yeah. How bad is this? Boy, it is a dismal picture. They are. I did runs, batting average, on base percentage, slugging, OPS, and home runs. Those are the offensive categories that matter. The highest rank that they have is 20th, and that's on base percentage.
And this is since when?
All season.
Okay.
They are 27th in home runs.
Yeah.
They are 27th in batting average. They are 28th in runs. They are 29th in OPS, and they are 30th in slugging. Their slugging is an abysmal 369. When they do get hits, they're singles.
Mm-hmm.
They can't hit in the clutch. Then I started thinking, okay, so they're almost last in every single category. Where do they rank historically? So I went back to the year that they lowered the pitcher's mound. Remember when Bob Gibson ran through the league and hitters were complaining the mound was too high, he was coming at them with too much force. They lowered the mound, and instantly the averages came up, the home runs came up. It was a clear advantage to the hitter. I went back to that year. So it's been, my data is about 57 years. The Guardians going back to that time, and I need to say this, I took 2020 and 2022 out because if you ever want to have some fun, go to Baseball Reference and look at how much outliers those were. When I was doing my research, I'm like, what was going on? Well, COVID in 2020.
It was only a 40-game season.
Yeah, very short season, and I think it was 60 games, but I could be wrong.
You're right, 60.
Very short season, but the average, everything in 2020 was off. Everything. They were playing in empty stadiums. And then 2022, I'm like, wow, 2022 is almost as bad as 2020. That was the spin rate era. That was the spider tack. And once baseball found out everybody was doing it, careers like Karinchak, there were a lot of pitchers that were relying strictly on the spin rate. So 2020 and 2022, I took out of the mix. If you do that, all of the teams and all of the seasons going back 57 years, the Guardians are in the bottom 10 all time. And we're talking 30 teams times 57 seasons. This is an historically awful season. And why? Well, they were almost as bad last year. Believe it or not, they were a little bit better last year, but not much. And so then I wanted to see, okay, so payroll has clearly something to do with this. They are, depending on who you look at, they're either 29th or 30th in payroll. Why did Cleveland love baseball in the 90s? Because we were third in payroll.
Mm-hmm.
Only the Yankees and Orioles spent more money than we did from 95 on in Major League Baseball. You can't buy a championship, but you can buy competitiveness and excitement and energy. And the Guardians, not only have they wiped their hands of spending money, it's almost like they're taunting us with it. They're not just bad, they're embarrassing. And this ownership group is to blame. And I'm counting the days until Blitzer takes the keys to the car. He better write checks when he gets here. He has a real opportunity to endear himself to the fans right away. And he might have his hand forced. Right now, the ceiling that Major League Baseball is proposing would have the Guardians spending $100 million just to get to the floor. That's how far from competitive this team is.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because the proposal that the owners put out was $170 million floor in payroll, which is stunning. Now, they're going to say that there's more revenue sharing going on, which is what will allow teams to do that. I don't believe for a second that they're going to suddenly start giving other teams $100 million more, which tells you that there's a lot more wiggle room financially than what they've shown.
I mean,
I agree with that.
How can you justify your payroll, not even with inflation, being the payroll in the 90s?
You can't.
No,
it's apathetic.
There's no defense to make.
How is that possible? Like,
and you know, this happens. We're asleep at the switch. The fan base collectively, I believe, we're so focused on football, and look what they've given us over the last 30 years.
A lot of spending,
but incompetence at an alarming rate. So the Guardians have done an incredible amount with a low payroll, and the Browns have woefully underachieved with the biggest payroll. Just because you spend money doesn't mean you're going to win.
Right.
You have to spend it wisely. And it's really sad that this fan base hasn't put more pressure on the Dolan family to spend more money to make us competitive.
Well, I think what can you do? I think they have. Fans have by not showing up.
You just don't go.
Well, and they don't.
This weekend they were sold out Friday night. You know why? You know what their biggest attraction is?
Dollar dog
fireworks and dollar hot dogs.
Yeah.
That's what this market cares about.
Yeah.
You know, Jay,
they know they're going to get a crap product. They didn't do anything Friday. We saw fireworks, and it was a good night.
We went to, my comparison is, we went to MAC schools, Bowling Green and OU.
Yeah.
Sometimes the frustration level when you wake up and you get there is you realize that you have people that may be on your coaching staff that is just like, oh, you're not cut out for this. But it's a MAC school. How mad are people going to get?
Right.
I mean, who's turning tables over?
But look at the bar we set in the 90s.
Right.
And you know what? You go down to the ballpark any night of the week from 1995 to the year 2000, any night of the summer, go down there. You know what you had? People, energy, excitement.
You could not get a ticket.
You couldn't buy one, and you had a chance.
Yeah.
And by taking that spending away, we have tried to build a car with 2 broken bicycle tires, an old go-kart tire, an axle we found from a construction site, a 2x4 that we cut with a handsaw, and we've tried to put it out there. And you can dress a pig, but it's still a pig.
God bless my parents. They watch.
I used to watch every pitch like my life depended on it.
Every single pitch.
Yep.
And they still. They still see the twinkle in their eye when they just a couple good games. They just want to say, we back, and you'd be like, listen.
Yeah.
And then they get disappointed.
This city deserves better than what this ownership group has given us.
And in fairness, like, that's when the Browns were gone. It was a brand new stadium.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot else going on.
They struck when the iron was hot.
They did. It was a perfect mix of events, and it was the hottest ticket in town.
They had listen, it's nothing like pulling up and looking at your team and be like, our number 6 hitter is better than your number 3 and 4. Our number 7 hitter just hit 45 home runs. And then I'll give them credit. Even when they start moving people, they were still going to get David Justice. They still went and got Matt Williams.
Eddie Murray, Oral Hershiser.
They were
Dennis
still
Martinez.
getting balls.
I vividly remember the Associated Press lead when the Indians signed Jack McDowell was the rich get richer.
Yes.
Because
can you imagine?
Because they signed the top free.
Did he even ever pitch for us?
The Cleveland Indians signed the top free agent pitcher on the market. It would be like signing Scooble today.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They signed Jack McDowell.
And look where we are now.
Yeah.
If you compare the free agents that we're signing today compared to the free agents we were signing in the late 90s, mid 90s,
there's no reason they couldn't have signed Pete Alonso last winter.
None.
No, and how much
look
difference?
Look at the hole that fills at first base that we just...
Look how much different this lineup looks with Pete Alonso in it. Just that one.
I got to tell you, I unlike I think you and Bull were big on the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I didn't anticipate the team would fall apart afterwards. I'm going to go out on a limb here, Jason, and this is just from watching baseball for a lifetime. And I believe I have a pretty good gut feel for what's going on micro and macro. And so I'm going to speak to macro now. Something's wrong with this team. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I watched Stephen Vogt in the dugout, and he looks, if you look carefully at him and watch him long enough, I'm pretty sure he's blinking SOS. Something's wrong. I don't know what it is. I would love to know what it is. But the energy and the magic that they had the first 2 years of him sitting in that dugout is gone.
Yeah.
And this is dangerous, but it's what we do. We guess and we speculate. These are things I'm saying at home when I'm watching the game. He wants out of this mess. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't look happy. He now has 2 American League Manager of the Year awards under his belt in 2 seasons. He always knew he was going to be a manager and probably a pretty good one, but now he's probably sitting there going, I'm not going to win here. They're not going to give me the parts I need. Tito stuck around forever. And then I think Tito finally said, this is garbage. We're a flea market team. We're spending like we're a flea market, and I want to go work. Now, we went to Cincinnati, which certainly isn't Saks Fifth Avenue.
Right.
But Cleveland is a flea market. That's what the ball club is. We're a bottom basement. And here's why this is scary to me. Because our one big item looks done. And I hate to say that. But Jose Ramirez,
yeah.
and if he is, we're stuck with the Miguel Cabrera contract that led the Tigers to 100 loss season after another.
I'm not ready to go that
I
far.
know that's probably a little harsh.
Think the hand injury,
something's wrong with him.
I think the hand injury had a lot to do with sapping once he came back. He wasn't great before
that. He turns 34 in September,
Yeah,
Jay.
I know.
And that's past the line of your prime.
Yeah. I still think he's got some good years left in him.
I hope and pray. And the Guardians are too.
Yeah.
And the Blitzers can't get here soon enough. I'm sorry to be so harsh, but I was a baseball fan that watched every pitch of every game every year. I don't care if I miss them now.